Welcome to this segment of Hampton Roads Business Live. Today our guest is Greg Avant from Avant Garde Photography in Virginia Beach. Welcome, Greg.
Well, thank you.
And you are a professional photographer in the area, and you do both commercial and consumer type services. So could you tell us, give us an example of like commercial services that you do?
Well, like last month I did I had this gentleman who had this device that went on a ship, and I took the device, it was very large, into the studio, and I photographed different parts of the device so he could put an instruction manual together on how to use this device.
So it's like photos for websites or brochures or things like that. I see. And I know you do commercial offices and things like that.
That's
as well.
correct.
All right, so that's good. And now on the consumer side, what do you find the most work in?
Well, I like doing portraits and weddings, those two mostly, and yeah, portraits and weddings, and senior photography, things like that.
Okay, so if you do when you do a wedding, do you have like different packages, or do you do all just beforehand stuff, or do you do the actual service? And
yes, I have several different packages, 3 different packages. I do before shots, engagement shoots. I do and everything through the albums. I do from engagement shoots to the weddings, and provide prints and albums.
Now, do they like to do a storybook kind of like a pre-wedding things where you go to a park and you get those kind of shots, things like that? Is that popular?
It's very popular.
I'd heard it was, yeah.
Yeah, I usually ask the person, are they a beach person or a park person? And then we will select a location that they like, and spend some time with them there and do an engagement shoot with that. Okay,
and then of course you cover the whole ceremony and everything, reception too.
Correct.
Right. Okay. All right. And your studio is in Virginia Beach.
This is correct. Yes.
Okay. And so they can come and have some shots done in the studio as well. And that's where you do your portrait work, is that right? Or do you go on location?
I do portrait work in studio and on location.
Both, okay. All right. And tell me about the photo albums. I know that when I was at your office that I got to look at some pretty nice albums that you had. And that's a popular thing for people to do?
Yes. Albums are part of your life. And in 10 to 15, 20 years from now, you have something to look back on versus a DVD or a CD, which in 3 months you may not be able to read. And that's why albums are so important. I have my parents' wedding album, and of course it was shot in black and white because it was shot in the late 50s. And all the prints still look like the day they were shot. And it's gorgeous.
And do you generally do these albums for just an occasion like a wedding, or do they do them for a person, or do they do them for an event, or?
You can do them for events, you can do them for babies, you can do them for seniors. Senior albums are really hot now, and so
like a review of their life or something?
You could do that, or just an album put together from a senior portrait shoot. Because senior portrait shoots usually cover something the senior likes to do, like basketball or baseball, the sports side of their senior high school life, the academic part, if they're into music, and you make an album out of that.
Okay, let me ask you, you just mentioned sports and things. Do you do school albums? Not albums, but school photography?
I really haven't concentrated on school photography.
Okay, how about sports?
I've done some sports photography. I've photographed for the Tidewater Tides.
Oh, okay, cool.
And but I usually like to just go towards portraits and weddings and events and commercial photography. That's enough.
Yeah, that's enough. Yeah, well, you can't be a master of everything. Right. Okay, so Now let's talk about something that you know, nowadays everybody has a camera. I mean, they're on iPhones and they're on, everybody's got a camera for one way or the other. So with everybody having a camera, and so everybody knows somebody with a camera, do you find, well, first of all, do you find that that's a problem? And second question would be, how do you tell people, or what would you advise people about the difference between an amateur photographer like Uncle Harry and what you provide? There is a difference. So what would that difference be?
Okay, I love that people photograph with their iPhones and other phones, but the one thing that people have to consider, because they're catching parts of their life, and that's good. The most important thing, though, is to get them printed. You know, you could drop your phone and the pictures are gone. You can have them on your computer and your hard drive dies, your pictures are gone. Get your pictures printed. Now, the difference between professionals and your consumer photographer is, one is education. I belong to 2 professional organizations, actually 3. The Professional Photographers of America, the Virginia Professional Photographers of America, and the Southeast Professional Photographers of America. And a lot of these organizations send you to professional schools. Like this summer, I'm going to what's called East Coast School, where I spend a week with other high-end professional photographers, and it's like 24/7 photography, touched and based on every aspect of photography, from weddings and portraits and what have you, even to the final editing and stuff. And there's also degrees that I'm going for, like certified professional photographer and photographer craftsman, and also master photographer. And other things are, I don't get my prints done at Walmart or places like that. Professional photographers get their prints and albums done at professional labs. There's only one professional lab. No, there's several professional labs in Virginia, but they're not Walmart or Costco or places like that. The professional labs use high quality professional materials, and the prints will last a lot longer and they will look a lot better.
Okay. Now, a lot can be said on the education side for using lighting and setup and how to pose to people and all that. That's a talent that you have to learn.
That's correct.
And then another that I know, because I've worked with photographers, I'm not a photographer, but I worked with photographers for a long time. And another thing is that there's a definite difference in the quality of the cameras and the lenses and things that are being used. So where your iPhone might be good for a quick snapshot for something like a wedding or whatever, you probably just wouldn't want to trust that. Much less trust Uncle Harry and his photographic knowledge.
Right.
But nothing taking anything away from Uncle Harry. But anyway, because once the moment's gone, it's gone.
Right.
You can't get it back, and that's something that's very true. So as you've built your business, what was harder about building it than you expected? You know, everybody that goes through this, you know, business, I find is trial and error. It's a lot. There's failure, there's success, and things. But sometimes we have this vision of what it's going to be, and as we're building it, it's a little tougher than we thought in certain areas. What was tougher for you?
I think that the toughest part is marketing.
Mm-hmm.
With the web now, and YouTube and video, and you know, which way to go. And you know, I've tried a little on the web. It takes a long time to do get yourself noticed on the web. And
if you don't know what you're doing, it does.
And
I know someone that can help with that.
And so it's just marketing is one of the biggest hurdles in this. You can be the top-notch photographer out there in the country, but if no one knows about you,
right.
you know,
Right. Okay. And if someone was getting into business, not the photography business, but if they were getting into any business, what advice would you have for them in starting a business?
I would say go to someone who has been a success in that business, and
Mentor.
mentor, because you'd be surprised how willing they are to give. I know I mentor a lot of photographers, and to bring them on to help me, and it's people have mentored me back, and I still go to people to get advice. So that's what I highly recommend.
Well, that's cool. All right. Is there anything we haven't asked you that that you would want to talk about?
The only thing I just want to emphasize is get your images printed, whether it's from an iPhone or from a professional photographer. And so you'll have something that will show your history, that will show your roots. And it's really not for you, it's for your children and your grandchildren, so they can go back and look at that album and say, wow, that looks good. Showing a record of your life.
Right, right. Okay, well, I appreciate you coming by here today. The contact information for Greg is at the bottom of this page. And so if you're looking for a photographer for commercial or residential, his information is at the bottom of the page. Give him a call and you'd be glad to talk to him. Is a no-cost consultation?
Yes, of course.
No-cost consultation. And you can also check out samples of your work is online as well.
Yes.
And so that'd be a great place to go. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Warren.
All right.